Welcome back to another bloody episode of Squatch for Daves. I'm your host, Dave.
And I'm Dave, and wow, someone woke up on the wrong side of the dorm waterbed this morning. Why the bloody hostility?
Oh, I meant that literally. Today we're talking about vampires, Dave.
Oh, bloody hell, Dave.
Exactly, Dave.
You all heard of vampires, right? But what if I told you they might not be the creatures of myth and legend we've always assumed them to be?
What if vampires are, in fact, real cryptids?
As if there's any other kind.
To kick things off, let's set the stage. We all know vampire lore. Immortal, nocturnal beings with a thirst for blood, right?
But here's the things. Throughout history, and across cultures, there are countless reports of vampire-like creatures, and not just county assessors raising your taxable value every year.
Those cryptids aren't even worth an episode in our book. From Eastern Europe's Nosferatu to the Chupacabra of Latin America, these cryptids share eerie similarities with the famous creatures of the night.
Coincidence? We think not. Now, let's get to the nitty-gritty. What makes a vampire a cryptid?
Cryptids are creatures whose existence is suggested by anecdotal or circumstantial evidence rather than so-called concrete proof.
Even though that proof is actually just buried and hidden from public sight. That's right, world governments, we're on to you.
Vampires, though often considered supernatural, fit this commonly accepted but misleading definition perfectly.
So, if it walks like a cryptid, and talks like a cryptid that sounds like a Romanian count, it's probably a cryptid. Investigation into the matter takes us to various corners of the flat, square world, where different cultures have their own versions of vampiric cryptids.
The Malaysian Penanggalan, a flying head with dangling organs, is said to haunt pregnant women and young children, like Baby Shark in Paw Patrol.
The Filipino Mananagal, who detaches her upper body to hunt at night, also goes after the same baby-centric crowd, and occasionally newlyweds. Which is actually what kind of ruined my first marriage to a Filipino woman that I had married after a week of knowing her.
Are you sure it wasn't the second part of that statement, Dave?
Don't be cheeky, Dave. This is serious. It was definitely the Mananagal. And failed marriages aside, these cryptids do bear eerie similarities to traditional vampires.
Now you might be saying to yourself, presupposing that these are cryptids and not supernatural entities themselves is circular reasoning, and to that we say, get out of here with your logic. There's no place for it here.
Yeah, you take that nonsense to your accredited universities, nerds.
Nerds.
Scientists have long attempted to explain vampire legends by establishing the presence of medical conditions.
They trot out the old porphyria and catalepsy arguments. Light sensitivity, stiffness, and dermatological conditions causing corpse-like appearances, and other similar tired rebuttals.
Yeah, except I don't see what tired buttholes have to do with this, Dave. I mean, I get it, but why? Are these biological explanations behind the vampire myths themselves? Or conversely, could some people have misunderstood these conditions as something more sinister?
Who knows, but why propose a bunch of explanations when you can have one cooler explanation? Like cryptids.
Yeah, that's Occam's razor right there. Probably, according to our school's curriculum.
Our journey wouldn't be complete without discussing vampires themselves and other evolutionary cousins.
That is one hell of a family.
No kidding. Could you imagine the family reunions?
You know, actually I could.
I'm not gonna ask more.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, good call.
Yeah.
The vampire literature, like vampires themselves, have transformed over the centuries from terrifying, disease-carrying demons into suave, charismatic figures that we see in modern media.
But how did this transformation happen, and is it really just a reflection of cultural fears and desires?
So-called experts say that it's that, but vampires don't have reflections.
Good point.
Checkmate, experts. And moreover, we here at the University of Cryptid Studies have pioneered a better, smarter theory that it's not cultural evolution, but evolution.
That's right, vampires, like other species, merely change with time and environmental conditions, like capitalist forces that favor attractiveness and charisma and ultimately lead to related profitable media, of which they are hidden beneficiaries. More on vampire economics another time, though.
Another example is the aforementioned floating head with entrails seeping out. This form just makes sense when attacking expectant mothers, for obvious reasons.
Obviously. So, are vampires cryptids? The answer is complicated, but still yes, or at least that's what we're going with.
While they don't fit the typical mold of cryptids like Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster, there's a compelling argument that vampire science, with its worldwide presence and diverse cultural interpretations, shares too many similarities with cryptid research.
Also, molds would be an inefficient way for aliens to make vampires, so not fitting the mold actually checks out.
And there you have it, our exploration into vampires. I think it's safe to say we can officially put the proper designation as cryptids on their file.
Whether you believe vampires are cryptids or not, one thing is certain. These creatures have captured our imagination and children for centuries, and their firelit shadow of destruction shows no signs of fading.
Thank you for joining us on this batty journey into the night. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to invite us into your house, metaphorically speaking, by liking, sharing, and subscribing.
Stay curious and remember, sometimes the truth just makes more sense with a healthy helping of fiction.
That was bloody brilliant, mate.
Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome, Dave.